Our beautiful planet Earth. This is a world of water, glistening blue in the rays of our star. Two-thirds of it is the ocean, with clouds on top, driven by ocean currents. All this is covered by a thin layer of air, which protects us from solar radiation. Water is the cradle of life on our planet. The ocean covers more than 70% of our planet's surface and is the most important factor influencing the climate and supporting all living organisms on the planet. The most surprising thing is that we know much less about the ocean, which is close to us, than we do about the moon. The most optimistic of researchers claim that no more than 10% of the underwater world has been explored to date. In this video, we've collected just a few of the mysteries the ocean hides. The pyramids of Yonaguni, the most mysterious place in Japan, is hidden under the water column near Yonaguni Island. Researchers believe that the pyramids existed long before the Egyptian ones. But what they do underwater is a mystery. In 1985, in the world of amazing discoveries, there was a sensation. On the Japanese island of Yonaguni, washed by the waters of the East China Sea and the Philippine Sea, in the coastal underwater zone discovered the likeness of pyramids. Yonaguni is the westernmost island of Japan, occupying only 29 square kilometers of territory, with a population of 1,581 people. The outline of the island, reminiscent of a compass arrow extending from west to east, its eastern tip is symbolically called Agarizaki, meaning place of sunrise. The western end is called Irizaki, which translates as the place of sunset. In the coastal waters, diving and hammerhead shark watching are practiced. The underwater world in these places is very picturesque, an abundance of colorful fish with exotic colors among red bushes of coral, a magical picture that attracts the attention of numerous diving enthusiasts. A diving instructor, Keiichiro Arate, filming the beauty of the underwater world for tourists in the spring of 1985, once again going down to the bottom in a new place, he suddenly saw some rocky mass rising up and extending quite far. Astonished, Keiichiro realized that this was some extraordinary object that required serious study, and he reported it to the official authorities and the press. Newspapers and magazines began to print the news, interpreting the appearance of this mysterious underwater structure in different ways. From that moment on, a detailed survey of all sites near the island waters began, which became a sensation in scientific archaeology. The first studies revealed that the stone objects occupy an extensive area almost all around the southern shore of the island. The central structure is a stone massif called the monument, which is a rather complex structure, the base of which is a high platform 200 meters long, 150 meters wide and 25 meters high. There are flat terraces on it, which go down by massive steps. The architecture of this structure resembles the pyramids of the ancient Incas, confirming the hypothesis about the man-made origin of the underwater city, as they called the strange object later. This name is not coincidental, because continued surveys revealed a stone fence made of huge boulders and a road, as if encircling the monument city. Masaki Kimura, professor of geology at Ryukyus Okinawa University, who has been studying the underwater city for many years, found that part of the peculiar fence was made of pieces of limestone that had never been found here. This observation allowed him to argue that the limestone was brought here from other places specifically for construction. He gave many more evidences of artificial formation of stone pyramids, round holes up to 2 meters deep, traces of ornamentation of geometrical figures on the rock stones, remains of sculptural images with traces of carving and even, as Kimura claims, traces of welding. Just as the creation of Egyptian pyramids still remains a mystery, the construction of underwater giants is also difficult to explain. Correct and clear edges of structures, strict symmetry of the arrangement of steps also indicate man-made origin of objects, so now scientists are looking for an explanation of why and how long they are underwater. In the course of these expeditions, finds were found that confirm Kimura's theory about the man-made origin of the underwater pyramids. A sculpture carved from stone was found at a depth of 15 meters, where you can see long arms, reminiscent of the hands of the Egyptian Sphinx, the headdress. According to the professor, the sculpture resembles a statue of the ancient king of Okinawa. Scuba divers swimming around the platform saw carvings on the rocks resembling ancient hieroglyphs, carved images of animals. Researchers have found stone tables with inscribed symbols reminiscent of Egyptian writings, which have not yet been deciphered. Scientists believe these tables contain historical information about the possible sunken city. Kimura's many-year study of underwater ruins has established a number of similarities with ancient excavations on land. The semicircular vault in the underwater platform corresponds exactly to the entrance to the ancient castle Nakagisuku, which belonged to the Ryukyu imperial dynasty, found during excavations in Okinawa. According to his calculations, these structures are more than 5,000 years old, and the professor continues to argue that the found objects are the remains of an ancient city, a whole complex of buildings, including sculptures, castles, stadium, connected by road infrastructure. As the scientist believes, all the objects were flooded during a catastrophic earthquake. When there were huge changes in the Earth's crust, a giant tsunami was formed, the waves of which buried the ancient buildings. To support his theory, he studied the stalactites and stalagmites of underwater caves, which can only form above water for a long time. He concludes that they are 5,000 years old and have sunk together with the stone structures, which are the creation of human hands. So far, no one can make an unambiguous conclusion, and the mystery of the underwater pyramids will continue to excite the minds and imagination of researchers for a long time to come. The ocean is huge. On our planet, only 30% of the land, and the rest is water. And how much mystery the ocean holds. Until 2020, humans have only been able to explore about 5% of them. Imagine what might be beyond our reach. Depths we have not yet encountered, or a lost megalodon from prehistoric times. It's also possible that the remains of long-defunct ships or the lost city of Atlantis await us there. Or maybe something dark and dangerous, who knows? On May 16, 2019, researchers aboard the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration ship Aquino's Explorer were in the Gulf of Mexico when the remotely operated vehicle they were testing came across the remains of a 200-year-old shipwreck. A closer look revealed that the ship was made of wood and covered with copper plating and was supposed to be about 40 meters long. At this point, however, there were more questions than answers. Archaeologists still don't know where the ship came from, how old it is, what happened to the crew, and even what kind of ship it was. The only clue I found was the numbers on the rudder, 2109, and iron and copper objects scattered nearby. Burnt pieces of wood suggested that the ship may have caught fire before sinking. A mysterious circular object, very similar to an alien spaceship, was discovered in the Baltic Sea. In 2012, a diving team from Sweden discovered a cylindrical-shaped object. While exploring, the object is surrounded by mystery, as its origin and function are unknown. Some have argued that it is an ordinary rock formation, while others call it the new Stonehenge. There is also speculation that the object is a small underground volcano or glacial drift. It is on our list because it has been suggested that it is a UFO or crashed alien spacecraft. This theory makes sense to some people simply because the object resembles the spaceship from Star Wars. Because of this resemblance, people assume that it is an object that fell from outer space. Nevertheless, we would like the object to be something alien. The possibility of life in space tickles our imagination. But the fact that it is thought to be just a simple object found at the bottom of the sea diminishes the pleasure considerably. The Curse of the Emeralds. More than 10,000 emeralds were found 21 meters underwater at the bottom of the ocean. An amateur diver and treasure hunter named Jay Miscavige finally found his prey deep in the Gulf off Florida in 2010. And what a find it was. He found emeralds worth millions. The find went down in history as one of the strangest treasures discovered at sea because of the controversy surrounding the find. One might have assumed that Miscavige's emeralds made him rich. But instead, they got him involved in lawsuits. As soon as the authorities became aware of them, the feds showed up on his doorstep. The court order granted him only temporary possession of the emeralds, and for that reason, Miscavige could not sell a single carat. In addition, there is the mystery surrounding the emeralds, which is that no one knows where they came from. The story gets even stranger and creepier because Miscavige committed suicide, leaving many questions unanswered. Some say he could no longer wait to take possession of what he found because he was up to his neck in debt. Others say the fact that he was mired in a federal investigation was his breaking point. The only thing we know for sure is that we will never know the truth.